My sister married the village chief's son just to have meat to eat, while I married the poor educated youth who came to our village. Little did anyone know, Su Ongwa ran off to do business on the very day she married him and never returned. Meanwhile, I followed Song Mingqian back to the city after he got into university and became the enviable Mrs. Song in the eyes of the villagers. My sister remained a grass widow in the village and was later caught fooling around with another man. The village chief drove her home, and her father, who cared most about face and reputation, beat her and kicked her out, saying he no longer had this daughter. During the New Year holiday, my sister stopped my car, begging me to take her home, but then she grabbed the steering wheel, causing me and the car to plunge off a cliff. When I opened my eyes again, my sister was rolling on the ground, saying she wanted to swap marriages with me. I knew then that she had also returned, unfortunately. She didn't realize that being Mrs. Song wasn't an easy role to fill. I immediately signed up for the college entrance exams, determined to study like my life depended on it this time and get into university on my own. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. The village chief's betrothal gifts have already been accepted, and now you say you won't marry. Where does that leave my dignity? When the matchmaker came to propose the marriage, as soon as she heard it was the village chief's son, my elder sister Su Minghua immediately agreed. Everyone knew that the village chief's family was the most well-off in Su village. While other families could afford meat at most once a month, the chief's household had eggs every day and stewed meat every few days. Let my younger sister marry him instead. I want to marry Song Mingqian. Su Minghua lay on the ground. Just like how she used to fight with me over food and clothes, as expected, our parents felt sorry for her. Mother went over and picked her up. The ground is so cold, aren't you afraid of freezing yourself? After speaking, she glanced at me and, without asking for my opinion, directly said to Dad, Minghua makes a good point. The village chief didn't specify it had to be her. Little sister can marry over just the same. The village chief had already sent a cow and several dozen pounds of grain. Dad was unwilling to give up this marriage alliance and was also afraid of offending the village chief. He assumed the authority of a patriarch. Jihua. I'll listen to whatever father and mother decide. As usual, I obediently agreed, but in my heart, I was calculating that there were only 100 days left until the summer college entrance exams, and I needed to make the most of my time to study hard. Last year, the college entrance exams had just been reinstated, and the timing was too rushed. None of the educated youth in our village passed the winter exams. This summer's exams would be much more formal. By then, my father had already arranged for me to meet Song Mingqian. He wanted to follow the call for children to marry educated youth who had been sent to the countryside, hoping this would help the youth settle down more comfortably and contribute to rural development. At first, he wanted Su Minghua to go, but life as an educated youth was tough, and my sister refused, so I was sent instead. Su Minghua gave me a triumphant look. The village chief's family is well off. It'll be a good life for my sister there. To avoid complications, my father went to the educated youth brigade that very night to discuss their marriage. They set an auspicious date 3 days later for the wedding, planning to host a few banquet tables. Mother gave the only valuable sandalwood chest in the house to my sister as her dowry. On the day of my sister's wedding, I went to the educated youth brigade to attend the celebration and saw Song Mingqian again. It reminded me of my past life when I married him. Song Mingqian was weak and not very skilled at farm work, slow and inefficient. To allow him to focus on his studies, I not only washed his clothes and brought him meals every day but also worked in the fields to earn work points for him. Under the scorching summer sun, weeding and harvesting wheat. In winter, braving the biting cold wind to dig the earth and plant vegetables, hands covered in wounds and chilblains, shoulders rubbed raw, leaving bloodstains on clothes. Just applying some medicine at the village clinic before continuing to work. The educated youth were allotted very little food, only coarse rice flour and vegetable leaves. The small amount of meat and eggs I managed to earn through work points were all given to Song Mingqian to eat. I can only drink coarse corn porridge. At that time, I was wholeheartedly hoping he would get into college, and no matter how much hardship I endured, he could always comfort me with a few sweet words. But after returning to the city, he said he needed to stay in the school dormitory for convenience in studying, and we barely met once or twice a month. He left me at his parents' house, where my in-laws looked down on me for being from the countryside and treated me like a maid. I don't want to live off others, so I went out to do odd jobs. Only by earning money could I make them treat me with respect. When I mustered the courage to bring something to Song Mingqian at school, I saw him holding hands with a girl, chatting and laughing on the playground. I had seen that girl before. Song Mingqian always kept her photo tucked in his book. Dear sister, I wonder if you can endure this hard life. All the villagers went out drinking, so mom asked me to keep my sister company. She was wearing a red cotton shirt, sitting in a shabby room that could barely fit a small wooden bed and a wardrobe. The educated youth dormitory couldn't accommodate everyone, so their wedding room was rented from a local family. This was the only dilapidated house they had. It leaked when it rained, and it took over 10 minutes just to walk to the toilet. In my past life, I lived here, and whenever it rained, the roof leaked everywhere, forcing us to catch the water with bowls and basins. Song Mingqian, who came from the city, didn't know how to fix the roof and wouldn't let me ask anyone else for help. Su Minghua despised this room. Her bedroom at home was much larger, but when she saw the bookshelf by the bed, a triumphant smile spread across her face. Su Jiwa, you're only fit to stay in the mountains forever. Soon, I'll be living in the city, enjoying the finest things. I pretended not to understand. Sister, is brother-in-law going back to the city? I haven't heard any policy saying he can return. Seeing that I knew nothing, her sense of superiority soared. What do you know? The college entrance exams are about to be reinstated. Once he passes, he can immediately go back to live in a big house and drive a car. So that's how it is. How enviable. Could Song Mingqian really pass the college exams this time? I smiled faintly as I watched her close the small door. On my wedding day, the 3 turns and 1 sound were carried into the house in perfect order. Of course, it wasn't prepared by my family. It was sent in advance by the village chief to be carried out as part of the dowry. We set up 10 banquet tables, not just with melon seeds and peanuts, but with real hot meals. My parents gave red-dyed eggs to every household in the village, and the villagers' flattery left my father beaming with pride. Surrounded by the wedding procession, I finally caught sight of Su Anghua, his face stern and cold. He was a completely different type from Song Mingqian. Song Mingqian had a frail, scholarly demeanor and an average build. In contrast, Su Anghua was tall and robust, his weak-colored skin accentuating his chiseled features. His muscular frame looked like it could knock me out with a single punch. I was somewhat afraid of him, having once seen him beat to death a wolfhound that tried to bite him. We stiffly drank the ceremonial wedding wine. Brother Anghua, give her a kiss. The bride is so beautiful. Brother is lucky. My face turned red from their teasing, and soon the room fell silent. The rowdy boys were scared off by his fierce glare. No one in the village dared to defy Su Anghua, let alone make trouble at the wedding chamber. I want to leave Su family village and do business outside. Will you come with me? A pair of dark, intense eyes stared at me. Su Anghua never intended to get married now. Ever since he saw the scrap metal peddler who came to the village, he had been longing to venture out into the world. Who knew the parents would be utterly terrified upon hearing it? You're going to engage in speculation and profiteering. Don't you dare go. If you dare step out of Su family village, I'll disown you as my son. The fresh winds of change outside had yet to reach this secluded mountain village. The villagers still believed that farming was the only proper occupation, and anyone who wanted to go into business must have been bewitched. They would be the subject of scorn and gossip. As an only child, he had always been spoiled at home, but no one expected him to be directly locked inside this time. They even quickly arranged a matchmaker to set up an engagement for him, using marriage to trap him. I knew that if I said I wouldn't go, he would leave alone tomorrow. I won't go. But I still won't go. Isn't it great to have everything served to you without lifting a finger? Hearing my immediate refusal, Su Anghua pursed his lips tightly and turned to leave. Wait, I thought for a moment and called out. He paused but still stepped out. I couldn't resist reaching out to grab the corner of his clothes, and he finally turned his head to look at me. I support you in starting a business, but I want to focus on studying in the village to take the college entrance exam. So I can't go with you for now. Once I get into university, I'll definitely join you. In my past life, although he never returned to the village, I had seen him in Nanchang. Not only does he have cars for travel, but also drivers at his disposal. He's opened several shopping malls, and even the mayor treats him with courtesy. They say he's some kind of economic leader. Su Anghua clearly paused for a moment, his dark eyes reflecting tiny specks of starlight. He stopped walking and sat down beside me, so close that with every breath I took, I could smell the soap fragrance on him. "All right, I'll go earn your tuition." His voice was deep, the tone shifting from cold and stern to gentle. The red candle in the room burned all night, and the next day, Su Ongwa didn't leave. For 3 whole days, after my endless anticipation, he was finally about to go. "All the money is in the jar at home. Study hard, and remember to write to me." Su Ongwa carried only a small bag. He left all his food coupons, meat coupons, and money for me, and even went to the school to get me high school textbooks and practice problems. His arms, as hard as steel, held me tightly. "Got it. Hurry up and go before mom and dad notice and come to catch you." I pushed him. "Hurry up. My back is about to break." After seeing Su Ongwa off, I returned to the village chief's house crying, saying that Su Ongwa had abandoned me and left. "Our Su family has wronged you." "Good girl." My father-in-law angrily went back to his room, while my mother-in-law wiped her tears and comforted me. From that day on, my parents-in-law treated me even better. Hearing that I needed to study, she would make all kinds of delicious food for me every day: sesame pancakes, 3 delicacy dumplings, steamed buns with braised pork, and red braised pork. My mother-in-law even brewed her malted milk for me to drink. "This is good for your health," she said. "A small can cost 40 yuan, while our family only earned 50 yuan a year. Even after moving to the city in my past life, we would only buy it as a gift." At this time, everyone in the village had to go to work, and I was preparing to return to the fields to cut grass. The village chief took the sickle from my hand and told me to report to the warehouse. After arriving at the warehouse, I was assigned to manage the farming tools. From then on, all the village's farming tools were stored collectively, to be taken out every morning and returned after finishing work in the evening. This job was a cushy one, free from exposure to wind and sun, and not physically demanding. After a brief instruction, I quickly got the hang of it. After the administrator left, Su Yu, with her hair in pigtails, quietly leaned in and whispered in my ear, "I heard the village chief gave 2 packs of harvest cigarettes to secure this position for you, even though your husband isn't home. Your in-laws are good people. Don't do anything rash." She subtly comforted me. I smiled and thanked her. In a village, even the smallest things couldn't be kept secret, let alone something like my husband leaving home right after our marriage. After distributing the tools, I took out the high school textbooks I had brought and started studying. In my previous life, after I followed Song Mingqian to the city, he always looked down on me for being uneducated, so I studied desperately. Despite only having a junior high school diploma, I went on to earn a high school diploma. But the truth is, dislike is just dislike. No matter how much I learn, in his eyes, I'm still illiterate. I'll never compare to the white moonlight in his heart. Now, I study not to please others, but to get into college, to rely on myself and stop depending on others. Without me to take care of your worries, Song Mingqian, what can you possibly learn after a whole day of farm work at night? Why don't I get gloves? Su Minghua's shrill voice startled me. The moment she spotted me through the window, her eyes widened in surprise. In our previous life, she was the one working here, but she was always full of complaints and worked only sporadically. It didn't take long for her to lose this job, which the village head had secured for her. "Little sister, get me 2 pairs of gloves, make sure they're new." "None left." "You're too late." Others came early to queue up for them. How could there be any left when she didn't show up until 9? "Ungrateful wretch, if I hadn't given my spot to you, could you have lived this well?" Su Minghua was furious when he saw me lounging with my legs crossed, reading a book in my new clothes. These days, her life was even worse than when she was still a maiden at home, eating nothing but cornbread and coarse porridge every day. Song Mingqian was gentle and scholarly, but he could do nothing except read. Housework and farm labor all fell on her. I said coolly, "You were the one who insisted on marrying Song Mingqian, regretting it now. I'm nothing like you, a lazy woman who only cares about wealth, willing to live as a widow just to cling to the village chief's family for their money. Mingqian is smart and educated, and I don't regret my choice at all." She spoke with such conviction. "Well said, Su family's eldest daughter. We have our pride and won't stoop to favoring the rich and despising the poor like some do." The one who spoke up for her was Aunt Wang from next door. Her husband died early, leaving her family in such poverty that her son still hasn't been able to marry. She single-handedly supports the whole family and is highly respected among the women. Everyone began praising Su Minghua for her sincerity, diligence, and willingness to work hard, calling her a role model for all. Su Minghua was so flattered by the praise that she became a bit carried away. I gave her a thumbs up. Sis, you're amazing. You can cut so fast and well even without gloves. She was about to argue with me when Aunt Wang pulled her away, muttering as they walked about who would even want to wear those shabby gloves, acting all delicate and fussy. Not wearing gloves makes the cutting faster. Let me show you how, dear. After everyone had left, I closed the window, plucking at my hair while working on math problems. I heard that Su Minghua's hands were slashed with dozens of bloody cuts that day, and because she failed to complete her task, her food ration was docked. The most common plant in the fields is sickle grass, which she usually feeds to the chickens and sheep at home. The thin calluses on her hands are nothing compared to the thick, hardened ones Aunt Wang has developed over decades of work. The next day, the whole village started spreading the news that I had been dumped by Su Anghua, and that he left the village because he looked down on me when it was time to work. Everyone in line looked at me with either pity or disdain. Those who were close to Su Minghua deliberately chatted loudly in front of me. Some people thought the pheasant had turned into a phoenix, but who knew others didn't even want this chicken, ha ha ha. Aunt Wang's daughter, Li Xiaoli, used to have a crush on Su Anghua. She made clothes for him, only for him to ask, "Who are you?" She cried at home for days. Can't even keep her own man. What a disgrace. Look at her still dressing up, probably trying to seduce someone else's husband. Wang Er's wife sees every woman as a threat trying to seduce her man. So you couldn't take it anymore and slammed the window shut with a bang. Your mouth runs all day long like a gossipy old woman. I shared one of the pork and mushroom buns my mother-in-law made with her. Don't upset yourself over it. I don't take it to heart anyway. So you quickly tried to refuse, but I shoved it right into her mouth. Only then did she start eating it carefully, savoring each bite. Li Xiaoli and Wang Er's wife caught the aroma of the meat buns. Seeing my calm expression, they stomped off in frustration. There are a few math problems I can't solve, so I went to the educated youth dormitory after work. As soon as they saw me, the educated youths exchanged glances and all looked at Song Mingqian, because before, I had always come to see him, bringing food and fabric. They all thought I would marry Song Mingqian, but who would have guessed? Song Mingqian thought the same way, his face full of disdain. Now that you've climbed to a higher branch, don't come looking for me anymore. I thought you were different from those country bumpkins, but it turns out you're just as short-sighted. It seems Su Minghua told him that I was eager to marry Su Anghua, that I admired Song Mingqian and was willing to endure hardship for him. Everyone else thought the same, so no one paid me any attention. The educated youth team leader let out an awkward laugh. "Jiwa, are you looking for your sister? She's not here." I shook my head. "Captain Yi, I came to ask you some questions." Yi Changming got into Peking University in his previous life and was the top student in the entire brigade. At first, he thought my questions were just an excuse and answered them half-heartedly. It wasn't until I precisely pointed out which steps I was confused about that he took it seriously and realized I was genuinely studying hard. Captain Yi was very pleased that, apart from the educated youth, there was finally a female comrade in the village who wanted to study. He lent me his notes and textbooks to take back and copy. He even wrote down the questions from the last college entrance exam and gave them to me. "Jiwa, study hard. The world outside is much bigger than here." For the next while, whenever I had questions, I went to him for advice, always bringing some flatbread or meat buns to help improve his meals. There are 60 days left until the college entrance examination. That day, I knocked on Jiqing's door but no one answered. It took a while before the door finally opened from the inside. Su Minghua leaned against the door, looking as if he had seen through everything. "Su Jiwa, have you no shame, hanging around with men every single day?" Every evening, the educated youth would study together, including some female ones. What's the problem with me coming to ask them questions? I lifted my eyelids slightly. What can you possibly learn? You haven't even finished high school and you're dreaming about the college entrance exam. Keep dreaming. I knew I couldn't hide my intention to take the college entrance exam, especially since all the questions I asked were high school level. Team leader Yi was aware of it too. There was a school in the village, but the tuition wasn't cheap. Dad let my sister go to high school back then, telling me there was no money left for me. My sister often skipped school to catch loaches or watch movies, and she didn't finish her education either. Stop pretending. She snatched the books I was holding when I wasn't paying attention. With a ferocious expression, she began tearing the books apart, as if they were some heinous weapon. I was just about to step forward to snatch it when I heard Song Mingqian's voice. What are you doing here? Su Minghua realized the question was directed at her. If I hadn't come, how would I know you're with this little bitch every day? Su Minghua threw the half-torn book at Song Mingqian. I pinched my thigh hard, my eyes red as I said to Captain Yi, my sister says I don't know how to behave when I come to ask questions. I'm sorry, Captain Yi, I won't come again in the future. With that, I ran off. Song Mingqian noticed the neat and delicate handwriting on the torn paper, coupled with me in my floral dress, crying until the tip of my nose was red. For once, he lost his temper and got into an argument with Su Minghua, but I didn't see them arguing because I had already left. The incident blew up, and no matter why they were fighting, to outsiders it seemed like it was all because of me. The gossip about me in the village grew worse, and my in-laws hinted that I should stop asking questions. I naturally agreed, because from that day on, the female educated youths in the team showed me extra sympathy. They knew how hard it was for me. Every time during holidays, he would voluntarily come to my home to check if there was anything I didn't understand. Captain Yi, afraid of affecting me, would always make 2 sets of notes and have the female educated youths bring them to me. When there were only 30 days left before the college entrance exams, my parents suddenly called me home for dinner. As soon as I entered the house, I saw Su Minghua and Song Mingqian were also there, and my father's face darkened the moment he saw me. I had just put away the 2 packs of peach shortbread I brought when I heard my dad snort coldly, "You unfilial daughter, kneel down before me." What did I do? I didn't obey as usual, stubbornly standing at the door. "You've made me too ashamed to show my face outside, running off to the educated youth dorm every day while your own man isn't home. Your sister kindly went to remind you, and you ended up stirring up trouble between her and her husband. Now the whole village laughs at me whenever they see me, marrying into wealth and living a life of luxury. What more could you be dissatisfied with? And yet, you still go seducing your own brother-in-law." As he spoke, he hurled the teacup in his hand at me. The shards cut my leg, the pain searing and sharp. I laughed in frustration. "Dad, it's because you couldn't bear to part with the village chief's betrothal gifts that you made me marry in my sister's place. Now it seems like I'm the one taking advantage." He waved his hand and sat down, treating my words as if they were the wind in his ears. "Anyway, you're doing well now, you should help your sister more. How come you wear new clothes every day but never send her a couple? You'd rather give the meat to those stinking intellectuals than bring it back for your parents to eat. Do you even care about your family?" Su Minghua chimed in from the side. "Little sister's putting on airs now. Even using snow cream, I've never even seen the stuff before." Mom heard and immediately started searching me. Not only did they find snow cream, but also hand cream and silver bracelets, all of which were handed over to Su Minghua. "Thanks, Mom." Su Minghua happily put on my bracelet and stuffed the rest into her pocket. Although I had long known about Mom's favoritism, I never expected her to go this far. I didn't want to cry, but my nose kept tingling uncontrollably. And tears welled up one after another. In my past life, I married Song Mingqian and suffered from hunger and cold. Every time I went back home a few more times, she would complain that I came too often and ate the family's food. Eventually, she stopped cooking altogether. Su Minghua said she'd give me some steamed buns, but just threw them on the ground. My parents never even suggested she should help support me. Now that she's married to Song Mingqian, she comes home to eat every few days and always leaves with bags full of stuff. My heart grows colder by the day. I just want to leave Su family village as soon as possible and never come back. I turned to leave, but Su Minghua grabbed my arm. "Shiwa, you're wearing silver bracelets now. Who gave them to you? Surely not your husband who's gone far away. He probably isn't coming back. Did your lover give them to you?" Song Mingqian opened his mouth but ultimately said nothing. I glared at her. But because I had just been crying, it wasn't the least bit fierce. I said coldly, "I didn't." "Don't push your luck. Who would believe that? But I can understand you. After all, it must be lonely being alone." She toyed with the bracelet in her hand and said smugly, "Once your brother-in-law gets into university, I can have as many of these as I want." Song Mingqian didn't know why she was so confident about his studies, but it motivated him even more. Upon hearing Su Minghua's words, my mother slapped me across the face. "At such a young age, instead of learning good behavior, you go and steal someone else's man." My head was knocked sideways by the blow. Clutching my burning cheek, I stared fixedly at their hypocritical faces. From now on, You'll only have Su Minghua as your daughter." Hearing this, she grew even angrier and wanted to hit me again. I lowered my head and dodged to the side, but her raised hand never came down. "Xiaoji, don't be afraid, I'm back." A broad, warm hand pulled me into an embrace, my face pressed against his chest, and I could no longer hold back my tears, burying myself in him as I sobbed. People are like this, they can endure pain without crying, but if someone shows them tenderness, they can't hold back the tears. Su Onghua stroked my hair and patted my back gently, as if comforting a child. "Brother-in-law, why are you back? Little sister didn't mean to mess around, just give her a good scolding, and she won't dare again." Hearing this, Su Onghua let go of me, reaching out to Su Minghua. Seeing the handsome and tall man in front of her, Su Minghua actually blushed. The next second, a cold male voice was heard. "That's the bracelet I gave Xiaoji, give it back." "TCH, who cares?" Su Minghua's face turned completely red with embarrassment, yet, she still didn't dare to throw it on the ground. After Su Onghua took back the bracelet and put it on me, he bent down to look at me. Seeing his travel-worn appearance, my lips trembled, and I was about to cry again. "Though you look beautiful even when crying, don't cry anymore or your eyes will swell." Warm fingers gently wiped away my tears. My parents put on smiles and said, "Our son-in-law is back. Why didn't you let us know in advance?" "We didn't prepare any good dishes." Su Onghua turned aside with a cold snort. "I wouldn't dare. Since you don't acknowledge Xiaoji as your daughter, naturally I'm not your son-in-law either." He took my hand and left as soon as he finished speaking. They chased us to the door, and my father stomped his feet in frustration, blaming Su Minghua and my mother. "It's all your fault for speaking carelessly. Look what's happened now." After Su Onghua carried me to the bed, he tried every possible way to cheer me up, showing me all the gifts he had brought back one by one. There were all kinds of hair accessories, dresses, milk candies, and foreign biscuits. He only held me tightly and poured out his longing when I couldn't help but laugh. "Su Onghua, it's broad daylight." Feeling his hands on my waist becoming increasingly unruly, I pushed him away. "Please," such a big guy pressing down on me. I couldn't push him away. We finally had dinner late at night, but we had already made a pact. For the next month, I would focus entirely on preparing for the college entrance exams, and he wasn't to disturb me. When Su Onghua returned, he brought back large and small packages of goods, distributing them to the villagers. Everyone knew he had made a lot of money outside and came to inquire, with some even begging him to take them along next time. The incident that happened at my parents' home on the day of his return also spread, and all the rumors were dispelled without a fight. The reason everyone had been so quick to believe was that they never expected Su Minghua, his own sister, to lie. Su Minghua was so jealous she could almost spit blood. Why was it that in her previous life, when she married Su Onghua, he never came back? When she first heard that Su Onghua wanted to go out to do business, she immediately showed her displeasure, stirred up conflict between him and his father, and the village chief nearly broke his leg. She even hid his documents and travel money. But this time, after Su Onghua left, he often wrote letters home and sent things back to reassure his family. The village chief realized there was no real danger for him outside, so naturally, he stopped opposing it. Su Onghua went to work for me every day, allowing me to study at home in peace. The chickens at home were all slaughtered to make soup, afraid they might disturb me. My parents-in-law prepared meals and delivered them separately to my room. Everyone in the village knew I was about to take the college entrance exam. Many were waiting to see me fail, while believing Song Mingqian would succeed, openly or secretly currying favor with him. Su Minghua felt triumphant again. Not only could Song Mingqian no longer study in peace like in his previous life, but after finishing farm work each day, he also had to endure Su Minghua's suspicions when he returned home. She always thought I still had feelings for Song Mingqian and forbade him from speaking to any woman, no matter what was said outside. I rarely left the yard and naturally didn't hear it. I once asked Su Onghua if he really believed I could pass the exam. He said whether I could or not, he would support whatever I wanted to do. There are 2 days left until the college entrance exam, so we need to go stay near the test site in the city in advance. Su Onghua originally wanted to accompany me, but he had an urgent business matter come up, so I told him to go handle it. Accompanying me won't help me pass the exam. Just before entering the exam hall, Su Minghua suddenly brought me a bowl of mung bean soup. "It's so hot, little sister. Have some mung bean soup before going into the exam hall. What if you get heatstroke? if you pass the exam, our ancestors' graves would be smoking with joy. You can do it, little sister. I glanced around and saw many people drinking mung bean soup, clearly. They had bought it from the small breakfast shop nearby that catered to exam candidates. The scorching June heat was already soaking our clothes with sweat in the early morning. Thanks, sis, I'll head into school first. Unauthorized personnel weren't allowed inside, so she could only wait outside for me and Song Mingqian. The test wasn't too difficult, and I walked out of the exam hall with a smile. You're okay? Su Minghua looked shocked when she saw me emerge unscathed. Of course I'm fine. Everything went smoothly, thanks to your mung bean soup. I didn't feel uncomfortable at all. Behind him was Song Mingqian, looking pale as a ghost. He was clutching his stomach, staggering out unsteadily. Su Minghua quickly went up to support him. How did the exam go? Hearing this, Song Mingqian's face turned even paler. On the day the results were posted, I went to check them with the educated youth team, and Su Onghua insisted on coming with me. Jiwa, you really got in, Nanjing University. Congratulations, I got accepted by Nanjing University, and Su Onghua immediately lifted me up in excitement. My wife is a genius, the first college graduate in our family. Captain Yi still got into Peking University, and the other educated youths were also admitted to their dream universities. Except for Song Mingqian, he fell short by a full 20 points, slumped under the announcement board. Utterly disheartened, Su Minghua beside him grabbed his collar, hysterical. It shouldn't be like this. You clearly passed the exam, you clearly got into Nanjing University. There must be foul play, someone took your spot. Let's go find the authorities, the school. They must have made a mistake. All the examinees were crowded here, and most of the unsuccessful candidates were as disappointed as Song Mingqian, except for Su Minghua, who was making a scene. This annoyed many people. If you passed, it was deserved, but if others passed, it must have been through underhanded means. Song Mingqian, irritated by the noise, told her to stop wailing, but Su Minghua only grew more agitated. Did you deliberately perform poorly to give the spot to that bitch Su Jiwa? You still can't forget her. I'll beat you to death, you heartless scoundrel. Upon hearing my name, Su Onghua immediately shielded me behind him, keeping me away from the crowd. Their commotion attracted security, who promptly escorted them out of the crowd. Holding Su Onghua's hand, I walked up to them, figuring it wouldn't hurt to have a bodyguard, just in case things got messy. Brother-in-law, that day I noticed you finished the mung bean soup in just a few sips, so I poured you the portion my sister had given me too. I didn't expect to still fall a bit short. Don't blame her, she just wants her husband to succeed too much. Only then did Su Minghua panic. She thought the laxative hadn't worked, but it turned out I never drank it at all. It all went into her husband's stomach. Song Mingqian seemed to have realized something too, and he slapped Su Minghua's face so hard that it left a mark. What happened to them afterward? I don't know. When we returned to Su village, my father-in-law hung red silk all the way from the village entrance to our home. He invited the whole village to a feast. When the production team learned that I had been admitted to university, they publicly commended the village chief during the assembly and even asked me to share my study tips with everyone. Those who had been waiting to see me fail all shut their mouths and begged me to tutor their children. My dad used my name to brag outside, only to be shut down by someone who said, "Who doesn't know you're biased? Even Jiwa doesn't acknowledge you as her father anymore, yet here you are shamelessly basking in her glory." He didn't dare leave the house for 3 days after that. After the September semester started, Su Onghua moved near my school to start his own business, opening a small general store. Every day, he would pick me up and drop me off at school, and no matter how busy he was, he would cook meals for me to take to school. According to my mother-in-law, after Su Minghua returned to the village, she quarreled with Song Mingqian every day, insisting on going back to the city. They were indeed lucky, as the policy allowing educated youth to return to the city was soon implemented. Even without passing the college entrance exam, they could go back home. Though jobs weren't yet arranged, hearing this, I couldn't care less. Go back to the city then, the hard days are still ahead. Song Mingqian also had an elder brother, and when he returned home, he could only live with his parents and his elder brother's family. The elder brother and his wife had long taken possession of the house, showing not an ounce of pity for their younger brother who had suffered and returned. They were only allowed to sleep in a space less than 1 meter wide on the balcony. Su Minghua couldn't win in a fight, nor could she out-argue them, so she had no choice but to endure the humiliation. Song Mingqian couldn't find a job and wanted to take the exam again. So she had to go out and do odd jobs to earn a living for both of them. Song Mingqian indeed had genuine academic prowess, as he successfully got admitted to Nanjing University the following year. When Su Minghua accompanied him to enroll in SAMI, she started showing off again. I told you Mingqian would definitely get in, even if you, a woman, go to college, you won't find any decent job in the future. I asked her, then what do you plan to do? Keep working odd jobs? Mingqian will surely arrange a stable job for me. I've finally come through the hard times, she said. I smiled faintly. Did bitter hardships really lead to sweet rewards? Dream on. As the welcoming senior, I led Song Mingqian to the boys' dormitory and prepared to leave. Gigi, we're at the same school now. If you ever need anything, you can come to me anytime. Song Mingqian, have you lost your mind? He heard my sarcastic remarks and smiled even brighter. I know you're afraid of your sister, so you don't dare to be nice to me, but you're the reason I push myself so hard. I finally got into the same university as you. My wife is under my care, no need for your concern, Su Onghua said coldly, pulling me away with a stern face. Persistent little pest. Looking at his dark, brooding face, he resembled a mother hen fiercely protecting her chicks. I know the main reason he chose to live near the school, working from dawn to dusk to accompany me, was his fear that I might develop feelings for someone else. Before the semester started, he couldn't sleep all night until I said he could come and accompany me if he was worried. I took the initiative to hold his arm and said, "Are you jealous again? I promise I won't talk to him anymore." I also promised to go to the movies with him, which seemed to ease his anger. The opportunity to study was hard won, so I attended all my classes diligently throughout college and successfully passed the interview to work at the Provincial Department of Education after graduation. Su Onghua's self-employed business was thriving, and he upgraded to a 3-story villa with all the modern amenities like color TVs and furniture. Colleagues kept advising me to keep an eye on him, saying men tend to stray once they have money. I pretended to understand, but inside, I was miserable. Even though he had become wealthy, he still felt insecure. He even set a curfew for me to return home and insisted on picking me up personally from gatherings. He often asked if I would ever look down on him. After learning I had moved into a small villa, Su Minghua came to make a scene again. He and Song Mingqian were still crammed into a tiny apartment, so he brought our parents to my place, saying, "As a daughter, isn't it your duty to support your parents in their old age? If you don't let mom and dad live here, I'll report you to the Education Bureau." In this society, filial piety is paramount. If they really made a fuss at my workplace, the collective condemnation would drown me. My father cares most about face, so I gave him 2 options. Either stay with me far from home, or take 100,000 to build them a new house back home. They chose the latter without hesitation. What's the point of living alone here when they can go home and show off? Su Minghua's plans fell through, and she could only hope that Song Mingqian would earn more money to give her a life of driving a car and living in a villa. Song Mingqian graduated and became a university teacher, a very good job, but the good times didn't last long. Before long, I heard rumors about them. It was said that Song Mingqian had a childhood sweetheart named Qin Wanwan. Back then, he had gone to the countryside in her place, and not long after he left, Qin Wanwan got married. Now she was divorced and had come back with a daughter. Seeking his help, Song Mingqian took pity on Qin Wanwan, providing living expenses for her and her daughter and even helping them find jobs. He even brought them into his home, recognizing Qin Wanwan's daughter as his goddaughter. When Su Minghua found out about this, she immediately pushed Qin Wanwan down the stairs. Furious, Song Mingqian forced Su Minghua to apologize at the hospital, though no one knows what exactly happened in the ward. All that is known is that Su Minghua was slapped several times and returned to Su village to seek her father's support. But how could dad risk offending Song Mingqian for a useless daughter? He kicked her out that very night. On the weekend, I was home alone when I heard someone knocking persistently at the door. "What are you doing here?" Song Mingqian stood at the doorstep holding gifts. Out of politeness, I didn't let him in. "Just say what you need to say, Gigi. I heard you're now a section chief at the Education Bureau. Could you put in a good word for me with the school?" Turns out, someone had reported him with evidence for misconduct in his personal life, and the school had suspended him pending investigation. I can't help you with that. I was about to close the door. He blocked it with his leg, and Song Mingqian winced in pain, his face contorted. Gigi, believe me, I have absolutely nothing to do with Wan Wan. Oh. I believed all too well that they had an affair. In my past life, Qin Wan Wan appeared even earlier, playing the victim as soon as she arrived. Out of sympathy, I helped her at every turn. In the end, I realized she wanted Song Mingqian all along, and I was absolutely furious, but I held it in. With my self-taught high school diploma, I found a stable job and agreed to the divorce on the condition of keeping half the assets. To avoid gossip in the village, I never told my parents. The car I drove back to the village after the divorce was bought with my own money. Little did I expect that Su Minghua, out of jealousy, would destroy both me and the car. You used to like me. Before we got married, you often brought me meals. It was Su Minghua who ruined our marriage. Don't flatter yourself, I never liked you. Song Mingqian clenched his fists. Do you think your husband is a good man? Do you really believe he loves you? Did you know he bribed people at Nanda to keep an eye on you? He'd send warnings to anyone who talked to you a little too much. I know. Those simple words left Song Mingqian stunned. I just love how his heart and eyes are completely filled with me. Unlike someone as fickle as you. Song Mingqian walked away, utterly heartbroken. As I closed the door, I noticed Su Ongwa standing nearby. Though I couldn't tell how long he'd been there, I bought some ribs. Do you want them braised or sweet and sour? He casually took my hand and led me home as if nothing had happened. I was eating sweet and sour pork ribs when I noticed he kept staring at me. Do I have flowers on my face? Do you want to leave me? We both spoke at the same time. You heard it all. I don't care about those things. Su Ongwa looked unconvinced. I know you too well. You might be enduring it now. The moment I let my guard down, you'll slip away from my side. He knew how I took revenge on Su Minghua. And he understood that I could even distance myself from my parents. I've never been one to swallow insults, really. I not only know about the things he mentioned, but I also know you beat up the senior who was pursuing me by putting a sack over his head, and you got the director who harassed me removed from his position. As long as you keep loving me, I'll always be here. Su Ongwa's expression brightened. I will love you well, my wife. Song Mingqian didn't end up losing his job, as personal issues wouldn't lead to dismissal. However, he was completely sidelined, losing any chance for professional promotion. Su Minghua was tricked by Qin Wan Wan into going to Guangzhou for business and had his leg crippled on the way after being mistaken for a vagrant. Song Mingqian now had no way to divorce. His wife was disabled, and he had to support her for the rest of his life. Qin Wan Wan also lost her chance to be with Song Mingqian. She remarried a wealthy Guangdong man in his late 50s, bringing her daughter along. Unfortunately, after the old man's death, all his inheritance went to the children from his first marriage, leaving her with nothing in the end.